right, guys, we are back with Mr. WavePunk once again, living the life in California. Like, he's always lived in warm weather places. I'm a little jealous. I had to shovel twice last week, so, you know.
I'm a very warm-blooded person, so I need the heat.
Yeah. And, like, I like the heat, too, as Wave knows as well.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah, you do.
It's kind of a bad joke, but then at the same time, because that one restaurant, yeah, whatever.
Anyway,
no one else would get that, but whatever. So we're back with another topic, and this topic is Psyonics, announcing the $2.5 million that they're investing in esports in 2017, and the pros to that, the cons to that, because obviously there's always cons. Like if I'm talking about Psyonics. Like, Psyonics must hate me because I'm always like, yeah, you know, it's not that great. But I love you, Psyonics. I just like to critique. And everyone hates it because they're like, you hate everything. I'm like, no, I'm just trying to critique. I'm sorry. But anyway, let's get into it. There was an article. I will put it in the description for this video. Rocket League Esports in 2017. So they announced the prize pool of RLCS the day before at 300,000. Mm-hmm. And that included OCE. So a lot of people thought, all right, so we're basically not getting like an increase in prize pool at all. Same with 250, and a lot of pros were very upset about that because they thought, like, where's this crate money going? And I think that was the first problem with their announcement. That was way back when crates first came out, and I think they kind of double backed on it here and said, like, my bad, that's not what we were going for. They basically said, like, in their first announcement for crates, that a portion of it would go to the prize pool. Now, they didn't say what portion it would be, but they did say it would go directly to the RLCS prize pool. So a lot of people were saying, well, we know crates have been selling pretty well, and not a lot is going to these prize pools yet, at least. And then, Psyonics came out with this announcement saying, like, hey, we decided to change it up a bit. Like, after we saw how much we were getting, it's better to not just throw it into prize pool, but it's better to bring up everyone, like, in the Rocket League scene and bring in like better production or more tournaments at events or more community tournaments that they can help with prize pools there. So build it all up from the ground up and not necessarily all just funnel in to the top level. So they said that more than $1 million would go into the total prize pools, and that includes RLCS. So we already have 300K gone from that. We'll say like $1.2 million or something like that. So you would expect probably, like, if there's another RLCS this year, I could easily see that being 500.
Sure.
But who knows?
Yeah.
I would assume they would increase it, but you just never know. And then they're gonna split it up among, like, weekly events or maybe these monthlies that we talked about in the last video. And then they just want to bring some more, like, major competitive gaming festivals. They want to have Rocket League featured there for some fun tournaments. And then even just for, like, fans, like PAX and stuff like that, they want that stuff. Community-run tournaments, weekly tournaments in all regions, not just Europe and North America and now Oceanic. They want, like, South America and maybe some Asia tournaments. So I think that actually helps a ton because, like, that'll start building up that South America scene a little bit more because they'll have some more money going in. Same with Asia.
Yep. I think it kind of, in some ways, I personally love and agree with their decision of how to spend their crate money. I think that this is less kind of, you know, more of a long-term vision. It's less immediate gratification, but in the long run, this is the right move for RLC, or right move for just Rocket League Esports to fund everything. They do, and this is a thing I've noticed with a lot of esports situations where, like, just either being too eager to announce things, too eager to say things, and just communicating the wrong thing. If you go right now, I'm logged into Rocket League on my gaming computer, and I have a crate, and I go to the crate, and in the bottom corner, it has an asterisk that says a portion of the proceeds from key purchases will directly contribute to Rocket League Esports prize pools. It says prize pools. It does not say Rocket League Esports events. You know, they're oh, you know, they're trying to say that, like, their first announcement, like, we said it would go to funding the events and the prize pool, so it's both. I got you. We can use it on the events and not just the prize pools. While in the game right now it says just prize pools. You know, so people were understandably and justifiably frustrated at being like, you said it was going to the prize pools, and the prize pool went up by very little, and we're introducing an entirely new area of players, so what gives, you know? I understand why people felt that way, but I do, in the long run, think that, miscommunication aside, this is the right decision, and
For sure.
I love the things that they're talking about in this. Like, I'm a huge college football fan.
Oh my
He's
god,
just college
he
sports
loves
fan, right?
TCU. Like,
Talk about the horn
please
frogs all the time.
TCU be bad at Rocket League because I do not want to hear WavePunk just crushing, man crushing over whoever's on the team or women crushing because he will go and marry that woman.
For the record, regardless of how well they do, I'm going to be crushing on them hard the whole time. But it's like in the middle of this, what are we going to do with this money? They have a true collegiate Rocket League esports program. That sounds so cool to me. I would love that. And talking about having a new hub, having to go into the website as well, going into like weekly talk shows, which is the thing that they talked about. To have stuff like this be officially sanctioned and happening with better production or something like that. That sounds awesome. That sounds
Excuse me,
cool.
Wave. This production is high class.
But even better, Gibbs.
I don't know. I don't know if NGE can compete with me. I don't know. No.
I don't know, man. Whoever it would be, I think that it could possibly happen. You never know. But I do think it's the right decision to spend the money overall. I understand why the pros were frustrated. And honestly, though, at the same time, like you talk about prize pools. Prize pools are what bring in the orgs, and the orgs are where you're going to get like stability. So I get that you need the bigger prize pools, but at the same time, it's not the prize pool itself that's going to make it to where you can be a pro. If as long as your major source of income is performance, no one's going to be able to make a sustainable career out of this except for people who actually win LAN. And what we need is to have a large enough ecosystem, a large enough structure that orgs feel comfortable coming in and offering their players salaries and contracts to where they can pay rent just by playing the game. Not by winning, but just playing the game. We need that to happen. And I feel like this, in the long run, will build a better structure for orgs to feel comfortable coming in and dumping money into Rocket League than would just a larger prize pool immediately.
Yeah, plus now with Twitch and stuff, a lot of these players, like I know it's not for everyone, but a lot of these players can make like a side income on Twitch or YouTube. Some players have, some players don't want to do that. Like I know a Remco has spoken out like, I don't really think that suits me. And then he's a little upset where it's like, all right, there's not enough prize pool to bring in the viewers because it doesn't look like growth. And that was like his main argument on Twitter. And I could see that for sure. But at the same time, like I do like that they're trying to build it up from the start. They have like a new series of tournaments coming in for the Xbox community as well, which is great because right now everything is PS4 and PC. So I do like that they're trying to get just more fan base in. And if there's more people playing Rocket League or trying to compete in these tournaments, then they're going to start being like, I want to see how these pros do it because I want to learn from them. And they might not have done that if there's no tournaments on Xbox because there's no money to be won. But once there is, and they start competing, more teams sign up, they might want to be like, all right, I want to learn from these pros. Then they might go to their Twitches more or to RLCS and stuff like that. Like just trying to build it up from the ground up is a good idea. Now, it's a little weird because we've had a year of RLCS basically at this point, and now they're trying to build it up from the ground up. But that's going to happen because this is brand new to them. And this is just brand new in general. And the crates just came out. And they're like, hey, we can kind of rebuild this from the start. It's kind of like we're starting over once again. So that's why I could see why the prize pool didn't increase that much because they're trying to work on everything. And they're just trying to make everything better at the same time. And I think prize pools will get there. But at the same time, like if more people come in and want to spend money on crates now, then it's just going to continually climb. And that's what we want.
Yeah, and I think like Psyonics made it clear from the very beginning that they weren't setting out to make Rocket League into an esport. They were just making this game because they loved it, and then we made it into an esport organically. And now they're like, man, people really do want to watch this. Okay, well let's put some money into it. And the fact that they're supporting it is fantastic. It's so much better than a situation where I've heard so many like devs come out and be like, here's the next big esport. We're making the next big esport, and it's like you don't get to say that. Like we get to decide that as the people,
like
right?
Evolve.
Right. So it's totally okay that it's building, that they're coming in right now, and like you could look at me like, oh, it took them a while to figure out that they needed to do this, but at the same time it's like they're this is what they tried to do. They're adapting to where their game is doing. Their game is turning into an esport, so they're like, all right, we're an esport developer now, I guess. We're gonna make this into a thing. And I think with Remco's point about the prize pool not growing and not showing growth, it's kind of backwards because the prize pool, like you look at like Dota, and that's like when you talk about like a prize pool that grows every year, that's what we're talking about, the international, right? That's the game that like sets the bar for how much a prize pool grows by. But it grows that way because people dump money into it. Because the viewership is there, and the viewership grows every year, so the prize pool grows. It's not the other way around. It's not the prize pool grows and then people go and watch. It's because like the prize pool is funded by the people through the compendium, and so more people buy the compendium every year, which makes the prize pool bigger and bigger every year. That's not it's not the other way around. It's not they make the prize pool big and people go, oh, well, I gotta watch. I wasn't gonna watch this year, but now it's a $20 million tournament, so I have to watch. You know, like no, that never happens. You know, kind of going back to our point from the last episode of like, I don't watch tournaments because of the prize pool. So
I actually disagree with you there a little bit. Like, so I think when you have more prize pool, it does create a better headline on, say, like on like gaming websites or something like that, and that might bring in a little bit more viewers. Like, I think it does bring in more of a casual audience, but like hardcore is going to be there either way. But I do think, say this was $1 million tournament, I do believe that that's going to bring in more viewers than a $300,000 tournament. Like, I see your point though. Like, I don't know how big of an increase in, that is, but I would still rather them do it this way, where they're trying to build everything up because they want viewers to come in because they're more interested in Rocket League compared to they're just interested because it's $1 million. Yeah, I mean, which is the better viewer that you want anyway, because they want to be interested in the game, not necessarily because there's so much money on the line and they watch this one event and then leave. If they come in because they love Rocket League, then they're gonna watch more stuff. Yeah, like I feel like the bigger prize pools, the biggest thing that a big prize pool does to me is kind of legitimize the scene. Make it seem like, oh, there's real money in this. People are dumping money into this, and they're going to make money off of $1 million tournament. They invested $1 million in prize pool, and they're going to create profit on top of that. That's impressive. And the biggest time, the time when I use those numbers is when I'm talking to people who don't know about esports. They'll be like, oh, so you're professional video games. What's that? Like, oh, I got flown to Amsterdam to shoutcast a $125,000 tournament. They're like, oh, that just sounds like a large number, and that's a faraway place. This must be a real thing, you know? And then when I tell people like, oh, yeah, this $20 million tournament, like I always drop it casually like that, right? Just like, oh, yeah, no, I went to the Internationals, a $20 million Dota tournament in Seattle. It was pretty cool, you know? And then I went to, and they'll just be like, wait, what? You know, they don't watch the tournament, but now they realize that the thing's there, you know? But the stuff, the tournaments people watch, Super Bowl, and World Series, and I have no idea how much money they win. That's not part of the. That's not part of it. You know, that's not the whole point. That's the whole point. Yeah, like I think that's the main difference between esports and sports right now. It seems like esports, they have to try and hype up that prize pool a lot. They always bring it up for every event, and then sports, they don't have to do that because it's like well established stuff like that. But I do think it just brings in a worse viewer if they're just coming in because of the money compared to if like they got interested in it because now Xbox has tournaments, so they want to see that stuff. So you'll see more growth over time compared to a spike in growth, and then they all leave with the bigger prize pool. So I'm really happy that they're going through with how they like decided to change up the plan, because like this takes balls to just be like, hey guys, we kind of fucked up on the last announcement, and now we're trying to say like, hey, look, we want to try and just build it all up instead of just throw it into a prize pool. And I think they did a good job. Like, obviously, there's going to be backlash where people are like, well, you're going against your word, but that happens. Like, mistakes happen. So, like, I'm glad they kind of went back on it. It was like, hey, guys, like, this is what we want to do. The only thing is they decided to do it a day after the prize pool. It's tough because, like, do you do it a day after? Do you do it a day before? Do you do it on the same day? Because, like, it kind of takes away from the other stuff. So, like, a lot of people were angry on the day that it was announced for the RLCS. And then this comes out, and, like, some people have changed their minds. Some are still like, it's not great. But, like, I wonder, like, what is the right time to announce this compared to the RLCS? Yeah, and I mean, in the same vein, you know, just talking about OCE, like, the trailer that comes out is, like, North America, Europe, Australia, and or Oceania. And we're like, and I look at that trailer and I'm like, sweet. So like Friday's gonna be North America, Saturday's gonna be Europe, and Sunday's gonna be Oceania now, right? Like it's gonna be right there alongside the other two. But like, and then you look at the schedule, and the schedule for this year is very much like the schedule for last year, and there's no set time in the broadcast for Oceania. So I don't know, like we don't even know yet, like how does Oceania really work into RLCS? And I feel like the people that are really plugged in, like you and me and the hardcore viewers, understand that Oceania isn't going to be like right alongside North America and Europe in the same vein. It's going to be more of like a different tournament that's running on the side in the same, like we understand that, but there's a whole bunch of the community that only saw the trailer and they're like, I can't wait to watch RLCS on the weekends and cheer for my, you know, New Zealand team or whatever. And I feel like there's going to be a backlash from that. There's going to be the people who are like, I thought that this was going to be the thing, and now you're saying that it's a different thing and it's not as big of a deal, you know, and it's like, why aren't we, like, and the longer you wait to announce that, the more frustrating I feel like, the more backlash you might get from the community. So yeah, it's hard to know, like, how do you do information? Like
produced merchandise yesterday, and I was like, do I just say it on Twitter today, or do I do it tomorrow morning, or whatever? You know, it's like I totally get that. Like, knowing how to do that is hard. But I feel like in this particular situation, doing it a day afterwards, it created like 24 hours of kind of hubbub. But otherwise, I think it was if that's what they needed to like get their wording correct and like figure out how they want to say it, they did a good job, and I'm happy with how the decision went.
And plus, bad talk is still talk, which is fine.
Sure,
so
sure,
people are talking about Rocket League, which is nice. One thing I thought was a little bit weird was they announced $300,000. They announced a third region. They didn't announce how that was divvied up at all.
Yeah.
And like the rules came out without like a headline or anything like that, and that's where it's kind of broken down how much money. And like Oceanic doesn't really get a lot of money. They get a 15K and that's it. And then of course that they have 2 teams coming to LAN, so that's at least like another 10K. But a lot of people probably don't even know how much Oceanic's in. Like some of these guys might be thinking that they get like a $50,000 or something like that, but they really don't. So they might be surprised, like when they tune into RLCS and we break down the money of like how it's all working out. Because that's kind of been just like thrown to the side and no one really knows. But it is very similar to how it was. There's even like I think $9,000 for awards now, which I actually missed the first time I went through the rules. And like they haven't said what those awards are yet. You would assume like playoff MVP and stuff like that, but who knows? So like some of that maybe could have been worded a little bit better, but at the same time they just wanted to like get everyone hype. So like if you have too much information, then you kind of lose some of that. So
and the trailer they made for season 3 was like the best thing that we've ever officially made for RLCS. I was like, oh, this is cool. I'm so hyped. I love this. So that was really fun. Yeah. Great trip.
So to end it, marketing is hard. It's pretty tough. So I wouldn't want that job at Psyonics. They're doing a pretty good job at it. I like how they can just fall back on like, hey, we might have said something here that we don't necessarily like agree with 6 months later, and that's fine. I don't think they got a ton of backlash besides when the prize pool came out, and I think pretty much everyone's happy. I assume pros would like more money because obviously pros want more money.
Obviously,
but I think trying to grow the community is awesome. So that'll do it for this video, guys. Thanks so much for watching. Thank you again, Wave, and I love you, Sad Junior. Goodbye.